welcome back to my channel. My name is Abigail B, and if you're new here, where you been? Make it make sense. So I actually need to ask myself that question. Where have I been? It's been 2 weeks. I was doing really well with the weekly videos and I slipped up last week. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I did do a video last week, but I didn't really like the quality of it. So I was like, eject, we're not doing that. I'd rather wait and then the following week and have a bit more quality rather than the quantity. So yeah, pardon me for that. But yeah, we are back with another video, my usual videos. I hope you enjoyed my 3-part series of my travels to Ghana and Nigeria. I saw there was a lot of love on the property one, so I'll definitely, when I go back there, we'll be exploring more properties out there for you to explore and get some inspiration. But yeah, back to our usual content. So I am going to be talking about how to really build expense in your space, and this is going to be a very interesting video because I'm going to liken it to fashion style and designer. So how can we get that real designer luxury look in our home without spending so much money? Interested? Keep watching. Don't forget to also subscribe, like and comment below, and also follow me on Instagram where I'll be showing you more short form content to give you inspiration. So let's go for it. First thing I'll say, when you see something that looks very luxurious, expensive, or someone wearing designer clothes, how do you know? What is the given point for you? Now, perhaps it might be the way the clothing is done in terms of its craftsmanship, the way the material that's been used, or perhaps you may notice a logo, or you know the design styles and you know that, you know, from your experience that is belongs to so and so forth. You don't know what the designer is. The reason why you can tell is how it looks and how it's put together. It's just something about the way it kind of presents itself that gives you that sense that this is an expensive item or this is an expensive look. Someone could be wearing something so simple like a top, a t-shirt, and or a blouse and some jeans, but it's just the way they put the things together that just makes you feel that there's elegance and expense put into it. So let's go into how we kind of use that example in our homes. So the first thing is layering. Now, when you layer your clothes in fashion, it just looks much more flattering, and it also does elevate it because it takes it from looking basic, as I always say, to bougie. It takes it from looking, you know, very straightforward and casual to a much more refined, elevated look. So as I've shown you some examples here, it could be someone perhaps just wearing a nice blouse, layering it with a blazer, some trousers, perhaps even taking it up a notch, having a scarf, and then just putting some accessory pieces such as the bag and the shoes with it as well. And it just looks really well put together. Same thing with your interior design. So when you are decorating your home, it needs to come in layers. So you start off with your nice warm white colors, or perhaps if you're going for a moody look, you're going for that, and you're bringing it all rounded together. Everything else is coming with it. It coordinates and it's flattering everything that's added on. Then you bring in your furniture pieces, and you don't do too much. You know, you're complementing at each stage of that. And then you lay your lighting as well. So you have your ceiling light, your wall lights, and your floor lights, either a floor lamp or a small lamp, desk lamp that you have somewhere on your console table or your side table. So you have those layering put in there as well. Then you add your textures, your cushions, and you're bringing in color, you're bringing in patterns. This is how you put everything kind of based together, and it really does look so inviting. You know, it looks warm, it looks high level, it looks intentional, and layering everything really does bring stuff together. I even forgot to mention your rug as well. So you're not leaving your floors bare, you know, you're having your nice rug, a decent, good size that fits the room, and it's all put together really well. So layering is so important with that. Another thing, when you're seeing someone that looks very refined, you're like, oh yes, that person looks luxurious. I can just tell that they are wearing expense and they look really good. You can tell with that is the way it's been presented. Now, be very thoughtful with that. So if someone goes out and they're wearing something that has a bit of dirt on their clothes, or it's squashed, or it's rinsed out in its color, I know there is a fashion sense out there like that, you know, the Kanye's of today and all the rest, but we're not talking about that, as I said. But it just doesn't look very refined having that look. It looks very washed out, it looks cheap, and liking it to a home decor is the same. So look around. If your furniture pieces, your curtains, perhaps your bedding, anything like that, any type of material, fabric is squashed or is looking rinsed in its color, it's time to either iron it. You know, you can use a steam iron, or maybe perhaps get rid of it, because if it's starting to look worn out, it's going to look cheap, it's going to downgrade the rest of the room. No matter how beautiful the rest of the room looks, having squashed curtains, squashed cushions, your sofa having dirt on it, your rug having dirt on it, perhaps the kitchen, you know, the walls are not fully clean, the splashes, marks of food and the rest of it, of residue, all of those little things really does tell a lot, and it just downgrades the space. So really be intentional and look out for these things and try and get rid of it. And as I said, this is done in expense. You can do this on a budget. It's literally doesn't take too much effort. The thing I would say in terms of that refinement look is about logos. Now, again, there are some designers out there, clothing designers out there, that love to have prints, and they really want people to know who they are. So they'll be screaming their name in their design, you know, got a massive logo here or the massive logo at the back or on the hat, the trousers, so on and so forth. I get it, because that is their way for being identifiable, so that when you see it from afar, you know that, oh, that belongs to so on and so forth. And I really do get it. However, when you're doing that, balance it out really well. So if you're wearing a beautiful Loewe jeans, like, you don't need to wear another really bright, really stand out-ish top with another logo on it. It clashes. It doesn't look very refined. It's really giving like, wow, look at me. It's a little bit obnoxious, you know, to say the least. It's saying all those things. It's really, really loud. And the refinement is about quiet luxury. It's about doing it intentionally, and you don't mean to do it, but you're doing it, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, you just wear a nice vest top, even if it is designer, like just have something that's, you know, a nice cotton top with it, or a nice blouse, or do you know what I mean? Something like that. So you're just tying everything together and you're not allowing things to clash. And liking it to our interior decor is the same. Like, again, if it's your thing, you know, do you. But if you're having, like, for example, cushions that are like Versace, and you've got Versace everywhere, and everything else is just clashing and it's loud with it, or you have a designer blanket, is doing too much. And I'll try and show you examples. It's really doing too much, and sometimes it doesn't actually look expensive, even though these things are. It really does lower the quality of it, because it looks like you're doing it intentionally to try and prove something, and that's not what we're doing here. It has to be so organic with it. So I hope you get what I mean with it. And can you see the difference? Like, you just don't need to know. It is what it is, and that's the beauty of it. Another thing I would say with that is, there are some designers out there, when we're talking about fashion, that obviously are very, very expensive. And when they try and bring it down to the everyday person, you know, brands are out there trying to make attainable luxury achievable for their target audience. So they will replicate some of these high-end design styles for it to be bought by everyone else. But when we think of like fashion, and you see some of the really fake copies, yeah, it's doing a lot, isn't it? Like, sometimes it just looks worse. It looks worse because they're really trying to kind of emulate it and imitate perhaps like the logo, and the logo looks completely different from what it's supposed to be. And it's just a given. It just looks so bad. I feel like nowadays, like, they are improving in that area, because they realize that it's just looking too fake, it's looking too cheap, and people are not on that no more. So the fake quality, the fake copies are getting much better. Like, some of them you really can't tell, and that's probably what you want to go for. You want to go for something that you know that design does that. Like, for example, I'll show you something, like, they don't do these things. You know they don't do these things. So why are you doing? Like, you rather not do it. get something that's completely plain, but maybe will emulate or imitate the design and shape and form, but it just doesn't say what it is on there. And taking it back to interior design is very similar. Like, if you're an interior designer, you understand some of the high-end products or furniture pieces they have out there, or the styles that they have out there. For example, like the kitchen, you know, if you look at really beautiful homes, like maybe that perhaps might have some real Calcutta worktops. It's gorgeous, right? And you want to emulate that, you want to copy that, but you don't have the price to do that. Doesn't mean you have to go for something that's so fake because you're trying to achieve that look. For example, like wrapping your worktops, wrapping all the wrapping stuff. Just be very careful with it. Just make sure if you're doing it, you get a professional to do it and it looks so good that you can't even tell. Spray painting things like the spray paint of gold or brass and all the rest of it, like you're trying to achieve something and you're just not doing it right, and it really does downgrade. And I would say a big no to that. What I would encourage you in that sense is try and go for really high quality dupes. So dupes that are imitating this, but they still use really good quality items to achieve it. So if it's like a sofa, perhaps it might be half the price and looks like a high-end product, but the craftsmanship, the product that they've used can last you 10-15 years. So you know that there's longevity in it, it's sustainable, you're going to get the most out of it, as well as it looking like something that's really, really high end. Another thing that makes things look very luxurious and high end is the design in it. Now you may be like, what are you talking about here? I'm talking about the way it has been presented, the shape and form of it. Liken it to fashion. So if we have like a garment or perhaps maybe even a bag, and it just looks very unique, it looks artistic, it looks like, I don't know, it just looks one of a kind. That alone brings attention to it. It's giving visual interest, and people look at it and be like, oh, that's so nice. Where'd you get that from? They're intrigued, they want to know more. And that's what you want to bring into your home decor as well. Bring things that are very unique, architectural, artistry. Remember these words, things that look different. Don't go with the norm that everyone else has had. Basically, don't be safe with it. Like, go out of the box. It's absolutely fine. Art cannot be defined. In fact, the more imperfect it is, the more beautiful it is. And you can achieve this by even going to thrift stores. You can do some DIY stuff as well. You can, pre-owned things, or just finding things that are very unique in different stores like HomeSense, and yeah, that's the only one I can think of at the top of my head right now. But yeah, there's so many brands that do things that are really out of the ordinary. Oh, if you're living in the UK, actually, Rocket St George is one of my favorites that have unique items in there that are absolutely gorgeous, and they even have a really good range, because you can get something that's very reasonable and something that's really expensive as well, so you know that you're going to get the best and it comes to quality in there. So get something that's very, very different, so it brings that interest and it just looks so unique. It looks like, I don't know, you've commissioned it from someone, you've had your own kind of artist that's done it for you. It's something like that. It just really looks good, and I would say definitely do that. Don't go with the norm, because the mass-produced stuff are done very quickly, very cheap, and they run out of trend and they run out of style. And you don't want to do that. You want something that's going to stand the test of time and always be there, and probably perhaps be even a memorabilia. So yeah, definitely think about getting something that's very unique, one of a kind. It really does bring expense to it, and it looks good. Now, I can keep going on and on about this, as I usually do, because I love kind of comparing fashion to interior style. There is a very fine line between them both. I feel like sometimes our fashion sense does interpret in our design style as well in our homes. It's variable, but I do kind of have some belief in that as well. And if you watch some of my TikToks and Instagram, you see that I do some videos on that and liken it to it, because it's just so much fun, and I see how much they kind of bounce and interject with each other. So yeah, I really do like that, and I hope this has been quite useful for you to understand how you can really bring that expense and that luxury feel to your home, whilst also being intentional and doing it on a budget as well. Now, come back for more videos. If you are new here, please press the subscribe button. If you are returning, thank you for the love. I really do appreciate it, and I really want you to come back more next week for something fabulous as usual, and something you're going to take away and it's going to be life-changing. yeah, I will see you next week. Bye.